You or have your team had any conversations, or are you continuing to talk with Mike's team to try to get this worked out?
Well, we definitely had conversation with him, so it looked like it gonna happen. It looked like it's gonna happen. So, I'm like, I realized that he can really fight. And a lot of people think it just, I said, okay, well, go ahead now, win it then. He can really fight.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
But it's not.
Plenty of dramas have plagued the upcoming bout between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and the latest one is the announcement by Evander Holyfield, saying he would love to take on the winner of the fight in 2025. We really do not know if his desire to fight is fueled by the attention the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight is getting, or the huge purse the pair will be making on that night.
Let's do it, baby.
Simple as that?
Just simple as that. Let's do it. That's the only guy that I see that the people.
Should that be his motivation? Then he's making some mistake right there. First, there was a reason Jake Paul pressed to fight Mike Tyson and not just any other boxing legend. And without doubts, not even Floyd Mayweather at the moment can attract the kind of crowd Mike Tyson will attract come November 15th.
We were going to get screwed over for the pay-per-view and all went eventually, but it's more about doing it for the people because people had nothing to do at that time. And what bigger names could you get in front of?
Perhaps that seems like an exaggeration, but anyone could check the top 10 fights on the pay-per-view records. While Floyd Mayweather clearly has his name painted all over the list, Mike Tyson isn't just a competitor, but is the only one who has an exhibition fight on the list. For the records, Floyd Mayweather has contested in 7 to 8 exhibition bouts against John Gotti, Logan Paul, Deji, etc. Yet none of these fights have made it to the list.
Oh my God. What the fuck is going on, bro?
Hence, if Holyfield is motivated by attention or numbers, then he should quickly understand that those numbers are numbers only the baddest man on the planet can pull off. While Holyfield is a boxing great, with an even more impressive boxing career than Mike Tyson, whose glory days only spanned 3 years, there seems to be something special about Mike Tyson that even a prolific boxing career won't give you.
But if you're doing the thing, you're doing it for the people. And that the purpose is the people. And because it's the people what makes things go around. And I'm talking.
In the build-up to this fight, the most talked about aspects of the build-up has been the training sessions of both boxers. Their training sessions have become so much of a talking point that many have tagged the fight the Battle of Training Sessions. To make this more controversial, Mike Tyson has been uploading daily videos of his training sessions from his training camp. While his training sessions have made him look more ready for the matchup and have attracted more supporters on his side, Jake Paul is having none of it. He has responded with videos of his own training sessions as well. And despite the age difference, an undeniable fact is that Mike Tyson's sessions have proven to be more intense and effective than Jake Paul's. It then raised several questions about the possibility of a 57-year-old coming back into the ring for the first time in 19 years and beating up a 27-year-old. However, one thing all of these have done to the upcoming matchup is to raise expectations and heighten the anticipation of supporters for the bout. And if done properly, the bout, being Netflix's debut in live sports streaming, could set some unbreakable records on the said day. Evander Holyfield first got himself involved in the matchup after his famous old match against Mike Tyson, where he got an ear bite from Iron Mike, was featured in the video, with Jake Paul recreating the same moment that happened just a few months after his birth.
The rematch is here. Oh my goodness, he's got a bloody right ear.
And not only do I have the honor of fighting one of the two most...
But more than just having his clip recreated, Holyfield has been getting himself more involved with Jake Paul, with videos and clips doing the rounds recently. Holyfield then went on to explain why he may not be seen so much in Jake Paul's training videos, saying, "I don't necessarily appear every day. Benjamin Flores is doing a great job. I just go there to teach and train him on the overlooked aspects of his game."
I didn't know that.
There's more. Yeah, there's more.
You didn't fall, I must have had to have. Like, so,
The hardest shot.
I done this.
Holyfield saying he doesn't appear every day makes the instance between Mike Tyson and Francis Ngannou more understandable. When asked about the feeling of having Mike Tyson in the ring with him, Francis Ngannou had this to say: "Bringing Mike Tyson into my training camp is one of the best decisions I can make to prepare for Tyson Fury. He is an idol of mine in the sport. His experience and boxing IQ will be important to honing my technique under his guidance to win this super fight."
Whoa! Yeah. And then after you do that, when you do the right hand, the last right hand, right? Boom. That's the last punch.
I've been wanting this fight for years, and now that it's here, I'm focused on fighting the greatest fight of my career and shocking the world on the most epic stage for the fans in Riyadh. "We are not the same size," said Ngannou, who reportedly weighed 290 pounds, 131, 5 kilograms a year ago. "We don't have the same style." He takes that into consideration. Ngannou then went on to reveal how exactly he was being trained by Tyson.
Do right hand, left hook too. That was beautiful. Left hook, rep it. When you put rip it with everything you got.
While he was always reachable for advice and lessons, he wasn't available every day. Ngannou confessed this, saying, "He's there from time to time. It's not training with Mike Tyson every day. He will come for a couple of days, teach me different stuff, and leave, how to move, how to carry your weight, how to go around and get closer and get your punch position. There are some points that are very important and similar for everyone's style. What he is helping me to do is sharpen my style and be better and more efficient with it." Ngannou then went on to make Mike Tyson very proud in a matchup many believed he won. Tyson seemed so sure of his performance even begin the fight, and he performed just as Tyson predicted when he said, "He isn't a combat novice. The key will be combining his energy and combat skills into his punches and using his agility to move swiftly around the ring, then delivering the knockout blow. We're here to win."
He had many professional fights. He just never experienced a professional boxing match. I was speaking with him when he came in, and I asked him.
Moving on, it remains to be seen if Holyfield will have a similar impact like Tyson had on Ngannou, despite not appearing every day. The 61-year-old remains the only boxer in history to win the undisputed championship in 2 weight classes in the 3-belt era and is the only 4-time world heavyweight champion. Beyond his defeat of Mike Tyson, with the records and achievements of Evander Holyfield, it can be agreed by all that Jake Paul surely didn't make a wrong decision in choosing him as his trainer.
Oh, dieser Haargriff bei und da schlägt ihn. Gekündigt, dass wohl erst gegen.
Notwithstanding, this collaboration came after Holyfield wanted a similar bout against Jake Paul some time ago. Holyfield once claimed to be willing to take on Jake Paul in a boxing bout. However, plans for such a matchup never materialized. As at the time Holyfield pushed for the matchup, the 27-year-old boasted an undefeated professional record of 3-0 and boxing royalty, and Holyfield admitted he's been impressed with what he's seen. Jake Paul being a guy who didn't come through amateurs, he is someone who fights now and does it as a hobby. Then Paul was just a year into his boxing career, and he had onto the scene thanks to his relentless trash-talking and habit of calling out almost every combat sports athlete, as many as he could remember their names. Talking more about Paul, Holyfield said, "He has a little bit more weight behind how to do things because people like him are doing it for the fun of it."
Jake, if you ever miss, wipe your feet off. Let's go.
They are not fighting in an association which is being operated by a union such as the WBC, IBF. The thing is, it is about ego what he's doing. People he wants to fight, if people agree to fight him, they know he's got all these followers. And if he believes he can beat me, and he gives me enough money, oh yes, I'd get in the ring with him. And I'd show people what would happen. Jake Paul had certainly managed to get people talking about him, and Holyfield was in the category of fans who thought Paul shouldn't be knocked for what he has achieved in such a short space of time.
And everybody's going,
He must have slipped.
he slept. That's the whole game.
I think that's kind of wrong. You're looking at it from another perspective. In the place we live in, America, we have choices, Holyfield added. He's a popular guy, and he said, hey, if they let me do it my way, there's no rules or regulations, I'm a guy who brings in a lot of attention. He obviously is making other people a lot of money. That's the reason he's fighting. He's not fighting for nothing. It's something that draws people in, so he's challenging pro fighters who have an ego. Obviously, people who feel they can beat Jake.
Like, must have. There's a mind thing where you're looking at a person and say, you don't go to me. And I ain't no sure.
But when they get in there, they cannot beat him. If one looked at the numbers Paul was producing, such as breaking into the top 10 boxing PPVs of all time, one can start to see why someone like Holyfield was interested in going toe-to-toe with him. The proposed match between Holyfield and Jake Paul came after Evander Holyfield was brutally knocked out in the first round of an exhibition boxing match against Vitor Belfort. Evander Holyfield, after the match, was advised never to step into a boxing ring again.
Legends 2, brought to you by Triller Fight Club, streamed live.
The living legend was pulverized, dropped, and stopped by former UFC champion Vitor Belfort in the first round of their scheduled 8-round fight at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, FLA. Holyfield stepped in on short notice after the golden boy of boxing, Oscar De La Hoya, tested positive for COVID-19. The fight was then moved from California to Florida because Holyfield was unable to get licensed in California, and it probably should have stayed that way. Instead, the former heavyweight champion stood no chance against Belfort, who wasted little time pouncing on him. Holyfield's age and deteriorating reflexes were evident from the opening seconds as Belfort landed an overhand punch that sent him stumbling backward. Shortly after, Belfort put Holyfield down with a left uppercut. Holyfield got to his feet but was met with a barrage of punches that caused the referee to rescue him from further damage at 1:49 of the opening frame. It has been a decade since Holyfield last fought, and although his body looked the part, his skill was certainly lacking against Vitor Belfort, who was 44 years old back then.
On Fight TV pay-per-view, two legends of combat sports. Vitor, the Phenom Belfort.
Holyfield looked for range with his jab, despite him having a very slow jab, a very, very slow jab. He missed with a slow right hand. And on the counter, Belfort landed a left hook and suddenly was all over him. Holyfield slipped and nearly fell out of the ring. It became more disastrous for Holyfield, as an uppercut put Holyfield down. Belfort then jumped on Holyfield again and landed a barrage of punches. The referee had no choice but to stop it. It was over. Unexpectedly, Holyfield became very mad. It was surprising to everyone that he had the nerve to be mad in such defeat. Holyfield said he was never hurt and protested the stoppage. To many supporters and professionals, that was awful, and everyone involved was ashamed. As a result, he went as far to suggest a potential boxing match with former rival Mike Tyson. This seemed like a better escape than Jake Paul. He felt fighting a fighter in his late 50s rather than 27-year-old Jake Paul would do him less harm.
There is the right uppercut again, timber. From a different angle, it was two uppercuts at the setup by...
But he might be so wrong there. If we're to really believe what we see in Tyson's training sessions, then their trilogy won't do well at all. It may end even before it begins. However, this yardstick can't be used to measure Evander Holyfield's abilities, who was as old as Mike Tyson will be when he fights it out against Jake Paul on July 20th. Vitor Belfort wasn't a lackluster opponent as well, he was equally up to the task. Vitor Belfort is a Brazilian professional boxer and retired mixed martial artist who competed for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, where he fought in the heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight divisions. He is the UFC 12 heavyweight tournament champion, as well as the former UFC light heavyweight champion and Cage Rage World light heavyweight champion. Known for his explosive knockout power, Belfort is tied for 5th for the most finishes in UFC history with 14. Belfort was that good. Notwithstanding, it was believed that regardless of his records, he stood no chance against a prime Evander Holyfield. Prime Evander Holyfield fought 57 boxing matches, won 44, lost 10, drew 2, and had 1 non-contests. Of his 44 wins, 29 were knockouts. Holyfield started out professionally as a light heavyweight with a win in 6 rounds over Lionel Byarm at Madison Square Garden. At the start of 1985, he won another 6-round decision over Eric Winbush in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Later on in the same year, he knocked out Fred Brown in the first round in Norfolk, Virginia, and then he knocked out Mark Rivera in 2 rounds in Texas. He moved on to cruiserweight and dominated there as well. In his first cruiserweight fight, both he and his next opponent, Tyrone Booz, moved up to the cruiserweight division for their fight in Norfolk, Virginia. Holyfield won an 8-round decision over Booz. He then went on to knock out Rick Myers in the first round in his hometown of Atlanta. He then went on to knock out 2 other fighters in the same year. The following year began with a knockout in 3 rounds over former world cruiserweight challenger Chizanda Moody, and proceeded to beat Jesse Shelby and Terry Mims before being given a world title try by the WBA cruiserweight champion Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
Out after 31 seconds. Still, this could be it now. Only 15 seconds to go in the round. Not much time for Evander. Cooper staying right there.
In what was referred to as the best cruiserweight bout of the 1980s, Holyfield became world champion by defeating Qawi by a narrow 15-round split decision. He defended his title twice and went in to unify his WBA belt with the IBF belt held by Ricky Parkey, knocking Parkey in 3 rounds. With an 11-round knockout against former world champion Ossie Ocasio, he retained his belt in France. He moved up to the heavyweight after knocking out Qawi within 4 rounds in a rematch and being recognized universally as the world cruiserweight champion after defeating the lineal and WBC champion Carlos de Leon. His first fight as a heavyweight took place when he beat former Tyson rival James "Quick" Tillis by a knockout in 5 rounds.
Right in front of him, feathering that free score, but another good right hand got in between the leather. You see the durability here of Moody. He's not the kind of
Meanwhile, when fought Tyson, Tillis went the distance with Tyson. For his 3rd and final bout of the year, 1988, he beat former heavyweight champion Pinklon Thomas, also by knockout, in 7 rounds. Holyfield began the following year by meeting another former heavyweight champion, Michael Dokes. This fight was named one of the best fights of the 1980s, as best heavyweight bout of the 1980s. Holyfield won by a knockout in the 10th round, and then he met Brazilian champion Adilson Rodriguez, who lasted just 2 rounds. His last fight of the 1980s was against Alex Stewart, a hard-punching fringe contender. Stewart shocked Holyfield early with quick, hard punches, but eventually fell in 8. In 1990, Holyfield beat Seamus McDonough, knocking him out in 4 rounds. By this time, Holyfield had been Ring Magazine's #1 contender for 2 years and had yet to receive a shot at Tyson's heavyweight title. Within 2 years of fighting in the heavyweight category, he became the #1 contender.
And then he would land another right hand here in this sequence that would create some problems for him. There's the right hand.
And his shot at the championship came against Buster Douglas, who shocked the world by defeating Mike Tyson. Douglas had defied sense to beat Mike Tyson on the 11th of February 1990 to win all the heavyweight belts. And then, after 8 months of comfort, fame, and eating heavily, he lost his world titles to Evander Holyfield in a fight that made Holyfield the world champion in the heavyweight division. An out-of-shape Douglas came into the fight weighing 246 pounds, 15 pounds heavier than he was for the Tyson fight. Holyfield, meanwhile, came into the fight at a lean and fit 208 pounds and dominated the sluggish Douglas, winning both the first and second rounds.
It looks like Dokes hit the wall with that punch. Yeah, he's hurt badly by a body shot. Into the rope, and that's it.
In the 3rd round, Douglas attempted to hit Holyfield with an uppercut. Not only did Douglas telegraph the punch, he missed Holyfield completely and knocked himself off balance. Holyfield countered with a straight right to Douglas's chin, knocking the champion flat on his back as referee Mills Lane counted him out. Douglas remained on the canvas for several seconds after the knockout and needed to be helped up twice before he got to his corner. All these qualities, remarkable victories, and mind-blowing techniques of Evander Holyfield must have attracted the attention of Jake Paul, making him seek the training services of the American boxing legend. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.